Yo, what is going on, Guardians? My name is Carlsbad, and welcome to the channel. Today, we're starting a new series where we quickly go over how to use each piece of XUR'S inventory for the weekend. The goal of this series is to showcase the exotics that XUR'S brings each week and provide some practical uses for each piece. Some will be more useful than others, but every piece has its place in the game. Having said that, this week is a little lackluster. XUR'S is located in the tower hangar all the way in the back this week. He's brought with him the Skyburner's Oath, Lucky Raspberries, Peacekeeper, and Vesper Radius. We'll pull a clip or two for each piece to give you guys an idea of what they can do inside of PvE and PvP. We'll discuss in detail what each exotic can do on the PvE side first, and then we'll flip over to the PvP side. With that, let's get started. Skyburner's Oath is an exotic scout rifle that fits into your energy slot. The exotic perk is Slug Rifle. This weapon lobs large, explosive, seeking slugs when you're firing from the hip. When you're aiming down sights, the slugs travel fast and straight, with higher damage and lower rate of fire. It also comes with a perk for the Empire. This weapon is full auto, does extra damage to Cabal, and penetrates failing shields. Scout rifles aren't exactly in a great place in the sandbox right now for PvE or PvP. While this one is pretty unique, it's really turned into more of a meme weapon at this point. It can put in some decent work on occasion, so let's take a look at what it can accomplish in PvE. In the gameplay for this weapon, I'll be combining Skyburners with Heat Rises and Starfire Protocol in the Warlock. This will allow us to float above our enemies as often as possible and hip fire Skyburners down on them. If you ever want to be an AC 130, this is probably the build for you. You can also pull this off with Alliant Ramparts on the Titan. So you can see in the gameplay here, we're steamrolling some of the smaller adds in this lost sector from the sky. Each round that's fired is tracking towards a target. Notice that we're also getting 2 separate damage markers for each shot that lands. This is because of the explosive slugs. This allows us to have virtually no fall-off damage on the weapon, which is its primary strength. We also are able to shoot right through this phalanx's shield. In the PvP clip, we're able to hit a lights out right off the start of a game just by hovering above everyone and lobbing shots in there. It may look impressive in this one clip, but trust me, this isn't going to be the norm when you have this thing equipped. Moving on to our first piece of armor for this week, we have the Vesper of Radius for the Warlock. This week's roll has a total of 65 stat points, and it rolled heavy into recovery and intellect. This is a pretty solid roll on a decent exotic. The exotic perk on this chest piece is Planetary Torrent. Rifts release an Arcwave Shock when cast. Rift energy recharges faster when you are surrounded by enemies. Pretty short and simple, but let's go over some of the uses for PvE and PvP. I'd honestly only recommend this exotic for PvE. It can be useful, but you really have to commit to this exotic and go all in. I like to combine it with the attunement of elements to take advantage of Arc Buddies and Electrostatic Surge. Honestly, the secondary perk is the most useful of the two. Rift energy recharging faster while surrounded is more handy than the minimal damage you get from casting the Rift. Let's take a look at what makes this exotic somewhat viable in PvE. We have enough damage from casting the Rift to take out 2 Acolytes in a night right off the bat, which isn't too bad. It is powerful enough to clear out red bar enemies that are right on top of you most of the time, which can be useful. You can see the shockwave isn't very large, it only reaches out a couple of meters. The ideal use here would be for a raid or nightfall with lots of enemies, throw it down, clear a couple of adds, and then use the empowering rift for a little extra damage. By the time the rift expires, you should have another one. For PvP, this is one of the worst exotics for Warlocks. The animation time on rifts is so unbelievably slow, I would honestly rather have any other exotic on in the game. Neither of the perks really lend themselves to PvP. You can see here that I do manage to tag this very preoccupied hunter for a small amount of damage. I was going to play a few more games to try and get a better clip, but honestly, I just don't want to wear this exotic in the Crucible. With that, let's move on to the Titan's exotic of the week. This week we have Peacekeepers. These are designed as an SMG boosting exotic. This week's roll came in with a total of 63 stat points that are heavily allocated in resilience and strength, which isn't too bad. The exotic perk on these boots is Mecha Holster. Reloads submachine guns and allows you to ready them instantly. Improves your handling with SMGs and your movement while wielding one. If you like SMGs, this is actually a pretty good exotic. In addition to providing quick draw for any SMG, you're also getting auto-loading holster and improved handling. You can really pair these with any of the Titan subclasses and almost any special weapon. These pair really well with a sniper rifle, shotgun, and grenade launcher. If SMGs get a buff in the future, you're going to want these boots. For the gameplay here, I decided to play the auto-loading holster feature to the maximum. I combined Peacekeepers with Wither Horde and the new Aikilos SMG. The idea here is to unload your Wither Horde, then unload your SMG, and just keep repeating the cycle until everything in the room is dead. For the PvP clip, you get to see a little bit of everything at work that these exotic boots have to offer. Auto-loading holster is working hard in this one, along with quick draw and the increased handling. I usually combine these with a sniper or a shotgun. Nothing too fancy, but it's definitely elevating our SMG gameplay just a bit. Now that we've covered Peacekeepers, let's take a look at the Lucky Raspberry. This week's roll is pretty solid, at a total of 64 stat points and 16 of them being in Discipline. Ideally, you get up to at least a tier 7 in Discipline to increase your grenade recharge. This is definitely the most useful exotic the XUR'S brought this weekend. The exotic perk, Probability Matrix. Increases the chaining capabilities of Arc Bolt Grenade and has a chance to recharge it each time it deals damage. A full chain always recharges. Out of the 3 exotic armor pieces this week, this is the best of the bunch. So let's take a look at the PvE uses. In the first clip, we're able to get 3 grenades off back to back, which is certainly pretty handy. I'm combining this with the Way of the Wind Arcstrider subclass to take advantage of the combat meditation and the increased ability to recharge while critically wounded, for any of you that were wondering why I was just letting all these throw bats my face in. So you can see it certainly makes the grenade more powerful, and it also is giving the grenade back pretty frequently. In the PvP clips, it's nothing too fancy, just chucking some grenades around. The first clip here, you can see I tagged 2 Guardians with a grenade for 90 damage each, which makes them an easy cleanup with almost any weapon. The second clip here, we get our grenade back instantly from tagging 2 Guardians. Alright Guardians, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, a like is greatly appreciated. If you found this video helpful at all, be sure to subscribe to catch next week's episode. Okay, bye.